Hello, girls. So, here we are with the last lesson for term 1, and it's titled A Legend of the Northland from the book Beehive. This poem was written by Phoebe Cary. Phoebe Cary was born on September 4th, 1824, in Mount Healthy, Ohio, near Cincinnati. She was an American poet and the younger sister of poet Alice Cary. The sisters co-published poems in 1849 and then each went to publish volumes of their own. After their deaths in 1871, joint anthologies of the sisters' unpublished poems were also compiled. It would be pertinent for me to mention here that this poem is a ballad. A ballad is a poem narrating a story in short stanzas. These stanzas comprise of 4 lines. In total, there are 16 stanzas in this poem, and these stanzas will tell us a story. This story is of the Northland area. The exact place is not specified, but Northland means the area in the northernmost part of the earth, that is, near the North Pole. In the first stanza, the poet takes us to Northland, where the days are very short and the nights are very long. So long that even if people go to bed, sleep and get up, it is still night. When it snows, this place is very cold. And so the reindeers are tied to the sledges. Now sledges are like vehicles for passengers, or it is also used for carrying things in snowy areas. And here the poet also talks about children who for her looks like cubs of bears because they are wearing very warm, funny and furry clothes. In the third stanza, the poet talks about the elders telling the children a strange story. Curious means stranger. And of course, even if the poet does not believe that the story is true, she wants to share it with you all because she feels that it has a very good lesson to teach. So this is how the story begins. Once when the good Saint Peter is the disciple of Christ, and it is believed that he lived in the world before. And when he lived here, he went around the world preaching about Jesus and Christianity. Then he came to the door of a cottage while preaching, while walking around. He came to a door of a cottage and he saw one woman baking cakes on the hearth. And because he was faint with fasting, he was very weak, he was famished. He requested her to give him just a single cake since he was really hungry. So she made a very little cake. But when the baking was done, she realized that it was big. Then she thought she would make a smaller one and prepared it likewise. But again she realized that it was bigger. Then she took out a tiny scrap of dough and rolled it over until it was so flat and thin like a wafer. But here too, she couldn't part with the thin cake. Then she told herself, how is it that whenever I eat my cakes, I find it very small, but whenever I have to give it to others, I feel it is too big. This made St. Peter very angry. He was angry because he was so hungry by then. And then this greedy woman provoked him to curse her. And then the good Saint Peter said to her, "You are far too selfish to be a human being. You have a home to give you shelter and food and fire to keep you warm, yet you are greedy. Now I curse you. You are going to live the life of a bird who have to build homes every day and who get scanty food by digging and digging and digging the hard dry wood." Then something happened. And she just went to the chimney, never speaking a word. And out of the top of the chimney flew a woodpecker, for she was changed into a bird. The red cap that she had on her head, that was left the same. But all the rest of her clothes were burned to black as coal in the flame. And every village schoolboy has seen her in the wood. And they say that she still lives in the trees, digging and digging for food. So that is what happens when you become greedy. We should never be greedy. That is a beautiful message that we get from this poem.